DCM works. Would you like to know more?
Hey guys, welcome back to the Art for Artists podcast, official podcast of digital and creative media works. My name is David DCM, creative director, lead writer, and I'm joined as always by my co-host Ben.
I'm a citizen.
Oh, alright, I guess we're this far in, and today we're talking about Starship. Well, fuck! The storytelling of Starship.
Starship Wop Dobbers.
The storytelling.
Starship
The storytelling of Starship.
I love this movie.
You know, you could let me finish the title, because that's where the music goes, usually.
I love this movie.
The storytelling of Starship Troopers. I'm going to cut that so that it sounds like we professionally know what we're doing, even though we don't. So Ben basically set me on.
I rewatched it and then realized how
you were
much
like,
I
David,
love
go
this
watch
film.
it.
Yeah.
So you can. I've got some notes, but you can start with what you want to talk about. So like, we're just going through the storytelling. So just like
I mean,
why?
it's storytelling?
Yes.
I mean, where to begin?
Where to begin? Probably
God,
the start's
This
a good
film
place.
is incredible.
Yeah?
It's so bad in
It's
so many ways.
real weird and bad, but also great.
So, Starship Troopers is one of like the original like anti-war, anti-fascism like parody films.
Yes.
Because there's plenty of films before Starship Troopers that were war is bad.
Don't shoot.
Anti-fascism.
Don't shoot people. Don't be a person in Nazi.
Yeah, like
You know.
1984, the movie was.
Mm.
Starship Troopers was like 99. I want to say.
92. 2005.
No, it's pretty early.
25th.
forget.
20.
Anyway,
sometime.
Starship Troopers is like
I don't know when it was.
because the book. A lot of people who watched the film originally really didn't like it. To be fair, it is a pretty bad film.
It's not great, but
there
it's also amazing.
There's elements of it which are terrible, namely the acting. The acting is horrible.
But it's the weirdest thing is you
But
don't
the
notice.
writing, yeah,
It's so strange.
the writing is surprisingly okay.
Yeah, I think the acting is bad, but it's the way that they do it really suits
It suits it now.
It would be bad except that the film is set in a world where that's how people behave.
Yeah,
So for instance, like the main character is this weird like wooden.
he's
But-
see,
but-
he's a plank.
But it really
He's a
works
plank of
because
wood.
that's like the kinds of people that live in this world.
Well, yeah, because
And the girl, the initial love interest,
obnoxiously overly attractive.
she's overly attractive and she's
and just
amazingly smart and
yeah,
very good at everything
and
she
just
does.
a wet noodle.
Yeah,
Just a wet
but
noodle.
at the same time, that's how people in this world are.
Because
So
the film
yeah.
starts off with propaganda.
Yes.
And probably my favorite sort of ideal is
Yeah, you
that,
want to talk about
that when the film opens with the very obvious propaganda,
Yeah.
it presents it as if it's like, some sort of like heads up display or like a television set in that universe that you're watching.
Yeah.
Like the would you like to know more stuff and like the bar at the top. And
It's like an end card on a YouTube video.
yeah, and the idea is that if you watch the film from the perspective that never actually stop watching the TV,
Yes.
and the whole film is one big
because
piece
it's
of
because it's
propaganda.
intercut with more of that.
Because it is, yeah,
Yeah.
because the movie will cut like seamlessly between. Well, it's actually not seamless. It'll cut in a way where, like, when they're like, "Would you like to know more?" It'll select another like section, and the movie will continue.
Mm.
Like it's actually part of, it's
Yeah.
it's like ads within
Yes.
this movie that you're watching.
Yeah.
Of a world that you're currently in.
Yep.
And and they do like news snippets and stuff like
Mhm.
that. And it's a weird thing where like.
You also see behind them filming news snippets sometimes, and you also see them doing news snippets
Well, yeah, because you see news snippets featuring characters
that you then see in the film.
that you've seen in the film, like
Or
with
that
Neil
you will
Patrick Harrison's character.
a lot of the time it's stuff that you will see later
Yeah,
in the film.
and it's funny because a lot of people are like, oh, the movie's so ridiculous, especially compared to the book, because the book's pretty kind of actually serious.
Mm.
The book isn't a joke, but the movie is a complete joke.
Yeah,
but it kind of makes sense because the propaganda is so just obviously fucking stupid that it kind of makes the rest of the movie seem okay.
Well, because it puts you in a world where that's how things are.
Yeah.
Like the characters in that world are very much like, all of the military people are like the dumb version of military. Like he's on the phone to his partner, and they just
and everyone's being a fucking
they jostle
moron in
his
the
shit,
background.
and
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, but that's the world they live in. It's ridiculous and stupid, and no one should write that in a script, but it so works. Like it's the weirdest thing.
They present such a weird view of military in general.
It's like a satire that knows it's a satire that's not satirical.
It's also it's a satire that knows it's a satire, but it's actually still kind of progressive.
Yes.
This was back in the. I mean, I'm pretty sure this was
I think it was 92. I don't
90
remember.
something. Yeah.
I don't know.
So
I don't know.
You know, if you look at I'm just putting it out there. The army is co-ed. Like
Yes.
the army is pretty surprisingly evenly split.
And it's never like brought up
never
as
an
a
issue.
thing. It's never mentioned.
There's literally just like an entire shower scene where
they all shower
everyone
together.
is naked,
Yeah.
but no one cares. Like,
Yeah, 'cause
no
it's
one's
normal.
making it. Yeah, because it's normal.
Which is honestly, that doesn't even happen now.
No, that doesn't happen at
That's
all.
like the future is
it's-
in the past.
It's a
that's
weird thing
more
where you watch
advanced.
that scene and you're like, oh shit, everyone's fucking naked and they're all talking. What? What the fuck?
They're just chatting it up.
They're actually being
It's
human
like
beings
prison.
to each other. Well, that's the thing. Like, yeah, it's like prison, but like a good prison.
It's like good prison.
Good prison.
Well, actually,
the army is basically.
there are a
good
lot of
prison.
parallels between the army in that film and actual prison. Like,
I think that's just the army. I think that's just.
I think military is basically like prison, but that's what the film is trying to say.
Well, yeah, and
That's kind of the message. Is it's like being like it's the.
I mean, the film is an obvious anti-xenophobic,
Mm.
literally xenophobic ideal.
Yes,
There are-
literally there are
yeah.
fucking xenomorphic
xenophobes.
fucking
They're-
insects or
yeah,
whatever.
They're like heavily
But
inspired.
it's so ridiculously that it kind of is reflexively satirical. Like it's a weird kind of like, because it's so ridiculous about the way it treats that xenophobia. It's reflexive, and it's like, you know what, people that are this xenophobic are ridiculous. But also it's ridiculous that we think that we know better than what they're doing. Like it's this kind of reflexivity where whoever produced it knew that they're like, we don't have the answer either, but clearly this isn't it.
Yeah, my favorite sort of example of that in the film is one of the propaganda ads, like halfway through the film, and they're talking about like how the aliens have this planet that creates all of these bug asteroids, which are just asteroids. They're just asteroids.
Yeah.
Like they call them bug
They're just
asteroids
big old rocks.
to differentiate them from
they're just
our
normal.
asteroids.
They're just normal rocks
to villainize
that
them.
they're flinging at us.
And they're like, they pose a huge threat and they must be destroyed. And it zooms out, shows the galaxy, and it shows where they are. And then it's like, you are here in typical fucking
it's on the other
shopping
side
mall,
of the fucking Milky
other
Way.
side of the galaxy. And then there's this tiny, it's like, they must be destroyed. And there's this tiny little explosion of like poof, and it's just comedy gold.
Genius.
It's like, it's the
It's
funniest.
so good.
Because when you're watching it, they're like, they must be destroyed. In your mind, you're thinking like, this is the kind of language we've heard. But then it just like throws this curveball of just how ridiculous the notion it is. Like the film came out, like watching it now, I'm curious when the film came out.
92.
92?
What you saying it is?
It's 92?
I'm pretty sure. I just watched it, and I remember looking at the file on my computer. I was like, 92?
Okay. Because
could be wrong, but we'll assume.
Because like, nowadays, a post 9/11 viewing of it, you're like, fuck. They knew exactly what they were talking about.
Yeah.
Like, a city gets hit by a bug asteroid, and then suddenly we just fucking go to war.
Yeah,
with-
immediately.
Immediately. Like, not even just immediately go to war with this. It's a weird kind of, like, you get a lot of people who are like, oh, we're getting closer to 1984. It's just like, no, we're not.
Nah.
We're nowhere near a 1984.
Nah.
Starship Troopers, though.
On point.
Dude, we are living.
There's a moment where there's a really great scene early on where the main bloke and the army love interest, not his current girlfriend.
Yeah.
She really likes him. And there's a great moment in that where someone asks him why he joined, and someone else says it's because of a girl.
Yeah.
And everyone thinks it's really funny.
Yeah. But she joined because of him.
But she joined because of him.
She reveals it later that she joined.
Yeah, but at the same time,
she joined.
but also for the reason to help, like both things. Whereas he just had one thing in mind.
Well,
like
she joined, but then she transferred.
He transferred to his unit.
Yeah.
But like it doesn't seem like it's for him initially. You're
the first time I saw her, I was like, I didn't realize it was the same character.
Yeah.
Because the hair was down.
Yeah.
The hair was like up, I guess.
Well, because it had been real frizzed.
It was up and then a hat, and I was like,
yeah.
When they looked at each other, I was just like another glove interest, but then you realize it's the same person.
Same person.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which is kind of a nice...
the same cardboard box as we saw before.
even that is kind of a groovy little like touch that they've added to the story, which is just like, oh well, you didn't recognize her because she's been institutionalized now.
Yeah, it could be that.
Because like a
or
little...
I'm just bad at noticing people.
Well, whatever. We're gonna throw some meaning at it anyway.
Yeah,
we'll throw some meaning at it. So I guess like one thing that I wanted to talk about a bit is the way that they kind of deal with the love stories. They kind of fake you out as to which one you're gonna get the whole time. So there's two girls. There's one that is his girlfriend who is a genius, outrageously attractive pilot who's like smart and funny and good at everything, and she's real bloody talented and she's on a big ship or whatever.
Yeah.
And he video calls her periodically.
Literally once.
Yeah,
shown.
We know that it happens more than once.
It's assumed it's more than once.
And then we also get the character in his unit who is more down to earth. She doesn't really have a whole bunch of anything going on, but she's real loyal and she...
Well, they sort of create a little group of friends, half of which we don't care about.
Yeah, we care about him and
except
her.
for fucking Guile. Mr. Blonde Spike Head, giant nose,
who you
big
think
teeth.
who starts off as this cunt and then you love him. You're like, he's amazing.
He is easily
he's
the best
so good.
character
He's just like he's just a good person.
He's such a character.
But it starts off as like the weirdest thing about that is it really subverts your expectation of the military.
Starts off as a villain.
But almost immediately
becomes a
friend.
main character.
Yeah. And you're like, oh, cool.
And comic relief.
Which is great. And then you get this girl as well. So basically what happens is they flip. So you think it's gonna be about like this girl's gonna croon over him and he's gonna pine for this other chick and they're eventually gonna get together. The second that you think it's gonna happen, they fake it out and the opposite happens, where suddenly he kind of likes her and then the girlfriend comes back into the picture, and then him and the girlfriend, and then she vanishes and he thinks she's dead and she thinks he's dead, and then him and this girl look like getting real buddy.
Dead.
And it's this weird
and
thing
then
where
they just meet each other at the end. But he's at that point he so doesn't care.
Yeah.
And like the last time,
because he sleeps with the
girl who dies.
Yeah, the military girl in his unit. But then when he does it, he thinks that his girlfriend, like, it's this. He
thinks his girlfriend's basically broken up with him.
Yes, because she kind of
he thinks he's never gonna see her again, and then she thinks he dies because he went missing.
Yeah.
So of course that's the funniest thing. Because for me, like, when she like put his name in and it was like KIA, and I'm like, you mean MIA? He's not, like, with military, you're MIA until you're confirmed dead.
Well, they had his body, and they put him in the tank, didn't they?
Well, that was the funny thing.
That was what I think that was.
He was literally just missing, and they were like, "Yeah, he's killed in that."
Well, no, because he wasn't. Well, what it was is that he wasn't.
They found him dead.
They found him dead,
and then they reconstructed him.
Well, because they put him in the special unit, the hard noses or whatever. The Roughnecks is what they're called.
Roughnecks.
Oh god, that hurt. The Roughnecks or whatever that unit is called.
I think it was
something like that, and they're like the elite.
Yeah.
So he died, and they were like, "We need this guy back."
They're the elite that have the exact same gear as everyone else.
Yes, that's really clever because it just means that they're real bloody good at their jobs.
I think it's more, for me, that was more of just a case of just like, you guys are arbitrarily special. You're actually the same. It still takes 6 of you to take down a single bug because we have highly inefficient weapons, and for some reason we're still using.
And even though we've seen that putting a grenade in the mouth works, we don't do that every time for some reason.
And like
why don't we have grenade launchers? Use those.
It's like we have these giant starships.
Yeah.
But we haven't developed our infantry weapons.
Yeah, we can't just glass the planet for some reason.
And I think that was an intentional choice because if they had gone like, oh, we have space guns and lasers, it would have reduced the effectiveness of the. This is like, again, like if like you watch Star Wars, you don't compare Star Wars to fucking the Civil War in Syria.
Yeah,
because they're completely separate.
Because they've got light swords and
they have
blasters.
lightsabers and pew pew and.
Whereas with this, like the parallels are so there.
Yeah.
Like they do this thing where like the ship is a bit like you think the ship the girlfriend is on has exploded in the sky, but it's fine, and they do this.
Everyone else on the ship died.
Yeah. They do this really interesting thing immediately after that where he doesn't react at all. He's like, well, she broke up with me, and also it's the army.
Yeah, because when they crash land, and he gets the distress signal from them, he's like, "Oh, we gotta get her." But then he like hears over the radio that like the typical like, "Oh no!" and then it cuts out, and he like every other action film, it's like, "Oh, we have to. She'll still be alive." But then he's like,
she's dead.
Nah, actually, she's dead.
He goes, she's dead, but I'm going to find her.
Yeah, that was then like immediately he's like, he's dead. She's dead, but I'm gonna go anyway.
He goes, she's dead. I need one volunteer.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa, oh, that's really intense. Like he just immediately was like, she's dead. Let's move on. Which is, kind of cool. Like that to me, that's a really interesting choice.
Because at that point, he's like,
yes,
he's
in
climbs
charge.
the ranks so fast.
Well, I think the reason is the idea there is that
he gets military, he gets battlefield promotion.
Yeah, and the idea with that is that people die so much.
And it's just like, you're in charge now.
And yeah, this guy who's been doing this for like a month is now the guy teaching other soldiers how to be soldiers, which is like so indicative of the problems with military.
Oh yeah,
like it's just such a great parallel for like the biggest problem with military is that
teaching people how to kill other people.
But it's people teaching people how to do what you're told by other people who don't know what they're doing.
Yeah,
who enjoy telling people what to do.
You don't have to go fight.
Yes, and it's like that is just such a problem with the structure of the military in the film.
It's a problem with military.
Yeah,
wars in general.
It's ridiculous. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. Like, something respect military Australia, but like the problem I have.
I mean, I think military.
Yes.
Like if obviously like there will always be boots on the ground because you're not gonna take a village without boots on the ground. You're not gonna take a village by driving a tank and being like, I have a tank, respect me. Everyone's gonna be like, no, I'm gonna throw rocks at you.
You basically have walked in, you're like, my dick is bigger than yours.
Yeah, you're gonna walk in with a gun that you can point at someone and be like, I have a gun, respect me. And they're
like I have a gun and
okay,
I don't particularly want to shoot you.
You're not gonna be like, oh, stop throwing rocks at me. It's like, what are you gonna do? Aim the tank at me? It's just like, I might. It's like, alright, go ahead and slowly.
And they've moved, but they already moved.
They just move, yeah. It's like,
yeah, I get what you're saying.
They'll always military will always have infantry, which is again another thing the film really nailed. The fact that military will always have infantry, and there'll always be a drive for like oh, it's super respectful.
Get bodies in the get bodies in the boots, basically.
And when they're like, they could have easily just nuke the planet from orbit, but they don't. Because they wanted to draw the parallels of, what happens when you put boots on the ground.
And then it's
everyone
also like,
fucking dies.
Everyone dies. And then it also, they do raise the question of like, what if they have a gun which shoots nukes, right?
Yeah.
It's like a fat man.
Mini nukes,
it's basically a fat man.
It's literally an RPG that fires nukes.
Yeah. So like the thing that's interesting about that is that tells us that they could just nuke the whole planet. They could gloss it.
But they don't.
They don't, because that's not the way that the military deals with problems like this.
Well, they don't, because they have outposts on the.
Yeah.
Which is like, it's like if you're fighting them, why are you putting out like that's that's not fighting them. That's such a colonial.
It's so Iraq.
It's a very just like we're installing freedom.
It's weirdly so predictive of what happened with Bush and his.
It is really strangely
on the nose.
It's just very odd.
Which just seems to me that the writers have, and particularly of the book. Not that I was gonna say that they've intuited deeply the problems and the way that military and government tend to function.
Well, because the thing is, the guy who wrote the book hates the film.
Yeah, the guy who
made the film read half the book and then was like, fuck this.
And because I think it really shows. I think it's genius the way that he made the film, because he basically is like, this source material looks at the military in this way, and I think it's ridiculous to be that. He's basically saying it's ridiculous to be this anti-fascist, but also being fascist is not
very
great.
Cut and dry anti-military.
Whereas his is very like anti-military, but also I don't know the best solution. So everything that anyone suggests, like it comes back to this idea that the whole film is based on, which is that anyone who says they know what they're doing and they have all the answers is a fucking idiot.
And the thing is, the movie doesn't even end on a resolution. It ends on a slight military advancement. Oh, we found the brain bug and we've started doing testing on it. That's how the movie ends. The movie doesn't end with, we found the brain bug,
we killed them all,
researched it, we figured out how to kill them all, because that's not a solution.
Yeah.
It's like, if they do the right thing by not presenting that as the final point, because
it's just another step.
Yeah, because by the end of the film, you don't really, guys, like.
And the other thing, the other thing you've got to ask yourself is like, how many other news reports have been like that, where they're like, oh, we've done this next small. Think about like the way that they report on ongoing invasions and stuff, because that's what they are.
Yeah.
Think about the way they report. They're always reporting like small things that they've done that are getting them one step closer to leaving.
Yeah.
That's what that ending is. That ending is like one closing of a tiny cycle of like 1,500 cycles during that war.
Yeah.
So it's this really like you get this real sense that they didn't make any difference at all, but at the same time, people are going to believe they did, and that's enough, It's
enough for the people on the other side of the
Yeah, because that's really all they care about, is that they think that what's happening is progress, when in reality, not a whole lot's changed. You know, all these people have died for pretty much nothing. But the guy who made the film is also acknowledging, but they also kind of died for something. Like, it's this very sort of paradoxical acknowledgement of both sides of the argument.
It's the kind of thing where it's just like, if you die for something that, like, that you as the person who died believe in, then it's like, well, good job.
Sometimes
like,
that's enough.
Yeah, like, it may not be the right thing, but it's like, I mean, it's not like you can change your mind anymore.
Yeah, you're dead. You're dead. You can't
like,
be pissed
like,
off.
sure, like, people in the future may then be like, actually, you know what, they their lives, like, they died for the wrong reason, but it doesn't affect you anymore because you're dead.
Because you're dead.
You know,
exactly.
Like, you may have inadvertently caused, you know, a horrible future for the remainder of your family, assuming you had a family before you died. But it's like, you know, whether they died for nothing or died for a reason, they're dead. It's like,
and I think that's kind of one of the points of the film. Like, it introduces ideas like that, but it doesn't, like, it never feels like it's preaching to you the right thing.
No.
It's always just going, hey, have a deeper think about this thing that exists. That's all it does. Is that's like, hey, maybe just reconsider what you think about this stuff that's happening.
Yeah.
It never really tells you what to do. It just says, hey, this is happening. This exists. Well, you know, maybe just think about it more deeply. Think about the way that the military functions more deeply. Think about the way these cycles of news and propaganda function more deeply. And it never says, I have the solution.
I wonder if there's if you go back and watch the film with sort of a before and after. That's a very odd point in the film, because it's dead smack halfway through the movie.
Yeah.
And it's a weird kind of plot device where it's just like, you know, if they're bringing people back, you know, if they're bringing bodies back and rebuilding people who are considered dead.
Yeah.
It's just like, I would, like, if I had that kind of technology, which they clearly do, I would just have farms of these things. But instead, we get this perspective of him in a huge lab in the center of the room. And apparently it's very important because there's like 3 lab techs in there.
Yeah.
And then also, even more strangely, just 2 ragtag kids are allowed to run in there. Like, hey,
dickhead!
Wake up from your literal rebirth.
Wake up from death, bitch!
Like,
but for them, it's so normal as well.
Yeah, but it's so weird. It's just like, they either have a lot of space and they just, you know, didn't have the budget to show, or it's an actual sort of more important part of the film. Because before then, he's part of just the regular regiment.
Yeah.
And after that, he's in the Roughnecks.
I think it's the point. I think it's supposed to be like the death of. Like, it's on the nose, but I think
it's like the death of his humanity or something.
No, it's like the death of the kind of, like, it's a death of part of what he was before he joined.
Yeah.
So he went from being, I think it's the person, he went from being the guy who joined for his girlfriend. That's the point where he dies.
He went from joining for his girlfriend, and then he stayed because literally he had nothing to go back to.
Yeah. Which is why I think he dies, because that's like everything that he was is gone, so this is all he's got now.
Yeah. So
which is kind of a positive.
He dies in the first fight where apparently millions of other people died.
Yeah.
Like in the initial, you know, literally D-Day. Like, even the ships with the way that the doors open, how they open, like...
like Gallipoli.
Like, like the Gallipoli. And it's like, and they just got mowed down.
Oh, yeah.
And, well, it's a bit different, because in the film, they retreat back to the ships. But it's a weird sort of turning point for the film. Then after that, he's pretty cold. Like, he doesn't really...
Yeah, it's because he's now institutionalized. Like, it's the exit from society, and it's the entry into the military, really. And it's kind of this implication that there's something that happens when you're involved in something like that, that means that the impact the military structures had on you is finalized. Like, it goes from being a thing that you adhere to a thing that you live.
Yeah. And
it's after that point that you no longer are able to not be like that. You know, if you think about people that you know who have served in the military, and are just now in the world doing stuff, even if they weren't like in fighting or anything, they just were in the structure for many years. A lot of them tend to like be really they'll make decisions that are very like unfair because they're used to having a structure.
Yeah.
So like they'll expect you to respect them because they have a better job than you or because they're older and stuff like that. And it can lead, like, you kind of, as a person that's never served, you're like, well, that's not how the world works. But for them, that's how the world has always worked, because they've been serving for like 15 years or whatever it is. I feel like the film's trying to get at that a little bit, where he died, like, he's now part of the structure of the military, so much so that he no longer has any kind of concept of anything outside of it. Like, these buddies that he's got are pretty much the only people that he knows now.
Yeah.
Which is kind of interesting, and that's even, like, built on by the fact that the girlfriend doesn't know he's alive.
Yeah.
It's like
the
even
very end, and even when she's sort of, I thought you were dead. He doesn't give a fuck.
No, he's like, bitch.
He's just like, excuse you, my friend back there is currently dying.
Like, bitch, I'm busy.
Like, I'm fucking get us back to the shit.
I'm busy, woman.
Yeah, like, it's... There's one deleted scene. This is more related to there's one deleted scene with actually the really obnoxiously attractive person and the other guy.
Yeah, the guy on her
one.
ship. Yeah.
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 There's like one scene, and I'm pretty sure they only filmed it so they could get her in a bra again.
Nice.
But that, like, without the movie, like, the movie without that is kind of, like, you don't know why the girlfriend and the guy are so, like,
real close,
like,
or whatever.
with each other.
Yeah.
Like, it is very, like, kind of forced, and they cut the scene for time, because the movie's long enough as is.
Yeah.
2.5 hours.
There's a lot of action as well.
There's a lot of, it just doesn't, the film doesn't really stop.
No, well, because I was watching it, because I was capturing footage for the Mad Max Potato Clinic while I was watching it. So, like, I just...
You just look back, it's like, oh, it's another fight scene.
No, it was kind of like...
another battle.
Like, I kind of, like, it was this weird thing where I was like, we've been through, like, 40 minutes. No, we've been through half an hour. Like,
yeah.
I had no sense of how long it was when it was happening.
I guess, like, on top of everything else, that's good. That's some of the best CG.
Of its time, yeah, it was really good.
Oh,
even looks better than...
It's still good.
Looks better than the prequels.
Like, it still holds up.
It doesn't look flat, ever.
No, like, the bugs look incredible.
Which is really weird that stuff looks so good.
It's, like, the way they did it is that they actually... The bug movements are CG, but the bugs themselves are puppets.
Ah.
So they're mechanical puppets that they filmed, but then they CG'd them in.
That's cool.
So,
that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why they're able to get the huge swarms, but it's why when they have like one-on-one or there's just one of them, they still look really good.
Yeah.
Like all the blood effects is done like practical, like how they do.
Yeah.
So it has that old Alien film.
Yeah.
It has that like Alien level of like
everything feels very real.
Everything looks so old.
Yeah.
And sort of not real that it looks like everything looks so like kind of dumb and cheesy that it fits.
Yes.
Because it's not
it's
smooth.
Yeah,
it's not glistened and
it's
shitty
an aesthetic,
CG. Yeah. Because if they'd done CG back then, it would have been horrible. Because it's it's pre-Matrix.
Yeah.
Even around the Matrix. Is terrible.
Yeah.
But it's like it's that Jurassic Park era of
a very
CG.
Practical.
But then they blew it out to a scale which was just impressive.
Very impressive. Yeah. Like I wasn't expecting it because I knew it was an old film.
Yeah.
And I saw it. I was like, whoa, that's amazing. Like it's really impressive.
The space battles. So the shot where their ship gets sliced in half. And it's like it shows like the inside.
Yes.
Like that's actually a model.
See, that's
like
really
that's
cool.
why it looks really insanely detailed because it's actually just like a scaled down model. Most of the space scenes, like the background ships are CG.
Yeah.
But like any of the ships that are moving,
they're models.
Like, within scene, they're models.
To me, that's like
it's this weird like crossover of practical and like post Star Wars, post Jurassic Park practical, but like elements of CG put in, right when CG was starting to become viable.
Well, it's like part of the reason that The Force Awakens looks so good.
Yeah,
same reason.
It's going back to that half practical CG only,
and like
kind of necessary.
Understanding when practical really works and how to make it work as well.
Which is most of the time, and make it because it looks good.
Yeah, it looks really good. And like one of the things that I really enjoyed about this film, because I didn't know anything about it when you sent it to me. You were like, you should watch this, and I was like, okay, one of the things I really sort of thought was interesting is it never, at no point does the film try and tell you what it's about. It's just like
No, it just
other films would like even if they just started, like they would give you a little bit about like what the film should be. This one just kind of things keep happening, and there's never a point where you stop to go, oh, this is a film about this guy. It's like things are just happening. Like it just
there's no real plot holes because there's no real plot,
which is really interesting because what you end up with is you end up with a focus on character, not on plot.
Yeah, no, not even the characters, just the general. Like you almost start generalizing the military as one person.
Yeah, you start to view them and their squad as one entity.
Yeah, and like it's just sort of represented by this guy.
By these people.
Because no one else really talks. Like no one else and the only people who are like if anyone else does talk, they immediately then die. Like literally in that film, if there's a wide angle shot of someone yelling someone and like back turned to the fight, 2 seconds later, they're dead.
Yeah.
Like, they're just dead. You know, whether it's bug out of nowhere or just burnt, like, they're dead.
It's very, like...
Just disposable.
Yeah, well, it's really symbolic as well. It's like the minute that you have a voice, you can't be in the military, basically.
That's pretty clever, actually,
right? Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's a great film, and I really... It really ages well, so I really think it's worth checking out.
It is... It's definitely done well.
I agree.
Watching it now, it's like... It's a lot better.
Yeah.
I watched it. There's 2 like direct-to-DVD sequels.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like they really they knew that they were a shit film.
Are they?
So they're terrible.
Okay.
They're really they're not worth. Same actors. I mean, if you really want more of that cardboard goodness.
No. I also never has a direct-to-DVD sequel been good.
No.
See Donnie Darko 2.
Fuck me.
Yeah, that was the second one.
Yeah, that's the problem.
But yeah, so. Look, I guess, you know, it's worth checking out, and I mean, let us know what you think of this film. Like, I really think the way they did the storytelling was really, really good. And I really enjoyed. Like, I didn't know anything, and I really loved it.
Yeah, it's one of those films where you can just you can sit down, leave your brain at the door, enjoy it, and then you pick your brain up. You're like, actually,
what have you been doing, Brian?
You're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, actually, you can. That's a great way of describing it. Yeah. Ben, where can people find us? Every week. Patreon.com/DCMworks. If you want to help support us, we follow #AFAPod if you want to let us know what you thought. You can drop it in the comments of the YouTube video if that's where you're watching it. Wherever you consume this, you know, give it a favorite, a like, an upvote, downvote, a side vote. Whatever, do a Reddit, I don't know, retweet it, whatever you do. Do it if you want or don't. And yeah,
we don't judge.
We don't judge. And that's it from us. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
And like the gameplay is super fun, and like because those 3 things are there, it's exceptionally good.
I could do it in a heartbeat and make millions, but it would feel like gouging my soul out.
Yeah, Jurassic Park's a little more like DDR.
If Shrek is a fairy tale creature, can he actually own land and want to kick them off? Where did that come from? You have to make a lot of shit up to make good art.
Yeah.
That's just the truth of it.